It was a Sunday morning. Tomorrow classes would starting back up after the weekend, and Shoto Aizawa was doing the excellent task of grocery shopping. Grocery shopping. It was hard to do all his daily tasks when he had babysit his class all the time. He did care about the little troublemakers, but they didn't make his job easy. Expectly what he'd expect from them. Toshinori and Hizashi were place-holding for him at the moment. Since the students did their own errands, Aizawa really only had to account for himself. So he had begun. Oh my gosh. So he wouldn't be gone long. They were becoming so responsible and grown, Aizawa could say that he was proud of them. But he didn't think any of them needed the confidence, especially Bakugo. He was getting better, at least, at his own account, slowly but surely. Deep down, they were still children, hence why he had to keep an eye on them sometimes all the time. It was his job to protect them as they grew into respectful heroes. Honestly, things were getting a bit more difficult. He couldn't keep asking Hizashi and Hitoshi for help. Maybe Hitoshi, since he retired, teaching his only job now. Aizawa was sure he had his own things to do, however. He actually talked to Nezu about this problem. While Aizawa didn't distrust his students, he really just feared for their safety. The school and even himself couldn't take any more casualties. Even more so after they promised all their parents and the news that they'd be safe. The small principal actually suggested that Shotoa should take on an assistant for a few days to help him out. So that's what he was thinking about as he walked through the streets. Holding his bags of necessaries, he took up the offer, and the assistant would start their first day tomorrow. He wondered if this was a good idea. He was more of a solo act, unless he was communicating with President Mike. He just hoped that him and his students would get along with this said assistant. I mean, they probably will, right? Shotoa trusted Nezu's judgment, but he wouldn't be scared to make his own. Oh well, he's just have to see how it would go. He really would be thankful for the help deep down. At least being out and about gave him a chance to breathe from dealing with all this chaos. It was just the run-of-the-mill sunny day with citizens out living their lives. It was nice to get out from being cramped up with work. Sometimes. He wasn't the most sociable of guys. Not that he didn't care about people. He clearly did. He was just more considered about avoiding the press, so staying inside wasn't a huge crime for him. He was in the middle of texting Hitoshi and Mike that he was almost back when an explosion ran throughout the area he was in. People began to cry out that a villain was attacking, and they needed a hero to save them. Shoto noticed that no other hero were out on patrol, so it looked like a job for Eraserhead. No time for resting when you've got problems to solve. Here, hold this, he told a random passerby, giving the stranger his luggage and rushing to the scene. He slipped on his goggles, ready to capture with the culprit. He got right into the middle of the action, looking around and trying to find the criminal and erase his quirk, so he could end things quickly. Ah, fucking hell. Shoto heard a voice cry out in frustration, quickly turning to the sound. It seemed to be a low level holding a man hostage. Shut up before I slit your throat, the criminal threatened. Hey, Shoto called out. Both the men and the crook turned to see the hero. It looked like the man causing all this panic was a rookie villain that thought he could just use his powerful quirk for whatever. Good thing a hero was here to save the day. Yay! Listen, I don't like wasting my time, so just let the guy go and cut all this out, Eraserhead told the villain. Huh? Yeah, right. Like a hero like you is gonna stop me. I ain't even seen you before. Shoto knew he couldn't be so reckless. He could hurt the hostage if he might have made a wrong move, and that'd have been the worst outcome. He quickly grabbed the hand of the criminal that held the knife in his hands with his special scarf, and while he was distracted, he ran up and punched him in the face, knocking him out. The previously captured man just watched his attacker fall to the ground. Shoto quickly tied the villain up and decided he'd take him to the police station himself, just in case. You all right? He asked the man, lifting his goggles since job was done, with one hand and dealing with the villain in the other. The man nodded slowly. Thanks, was all he said, rubbing the back of his neck. Well, if you have any injuries, I could help and take you to a hospital. No, I'm good. He was sure to savior. The rugged pro hero gave a nod. All right, but don't take off just yet. The police will want to question you. Trust me, I'm well aware of how all this works. He informed Aizawa. Bit of a sassy one, huh? Aizawa thought, chuckling in his head. After Aizawa turned in the criminal and made sure that the victim was okay, he returned back to his day as usual. Luckily enough, the person who gave his groceries was nice enough to wait for his return, so now he was really on his way back, and finally sent the text that he was on his way back, but also explaining how he had a slight detour. Glad you're okay, Aizawa. Yeah, man. Shoto chuckled at his friend's concern. Come on, guys. I know my quirk isn't like it used to be, but you really think I would go down to a lowly villain? No, it's just we didn't know the details till later. Don't blame us for being worried, President Mike yelled / cried. Shoto just rolled his eyes at his playful, of course. Whatever, I'm going inside now. Thanks for the help, Aizawa said tiredly. Well, he always was tired, so even more tired than he usually is. No problem, man. Anytime. Bye. Once Aizawa got inside, he got bombarded by Class 1A. They almost toppled him. Huh? He yelled out. We were all so worried, Sensei. Ida cried out first, Midoriya and Uraka vigorously nodding along with Ida's statement. The only who wasn't there to see Mr. Aizawa and to dogpile was, of course, Bakugo. Damn it, stop crushing the old man, you idiots, he yelled at his classmates. Shut up, Bakugo. We all know you were worried too, Dinky yelled at him. The outburst made him jump, but he quickly scoffed in fake disgust. Yeah, right, as if. We saw that happened on the news, Mina exclaimed. We know you're not weak, but still, Kirishima continued. Is everyone just doubting my skills today? Aizawa questioned to himself in his head, while also answering too. No, they care. But a certain detail made him blink. I was on the news? After removing all the children piled up on top of him, Shoto went back to his own room since it was nighttime by then. He turned on the TV, the news playing as it flicked to life. The criminal took a man named Yenlin as a hostage in all his city-destroying chaos. Luckily, the underground pro hero Eraserhead swooped in and saved the day, the man appearing without a scratch, and the villain being captured. His eyebrows twitched. He really did hate publicity. It just made his job harder. But just like every hero, he'd just have to deal with it. That name, though, Yen. It sounded familiar. Strange. Shoto thought as he zipped himself up in his iconic yellow sleeping bag. It was time to go to bed. Tomorrow was a school day, and he needed some shut-eye. Shoto took a sip from his cup of coffee as he waited in the teacher's lounge for school to start. It was also where he was supposed to meet his assistant. Yo! President Mike's voice boomed. It didn't even faze Aizawa anymore. Good morning, Hazashi. Man, guess what? What? That guy you saved yesterday was totally one of our classmates. This made Shoto put down his coffee. What? Yeah, man. Wow, I had no idea. Shoto had said sincerely. He guessed that's why his name sounded so familiar. But why didn't he recognize him when he was saving him? Ah, Mr. Aizawa. There you are. The voice of the principal filled the room. Shoto stood from his chair to show his respect. Good morning, Mr. Aizawa. I would like you to say that I'm glad that you're okay after yesterday's incident. Thank you, sir. I'm sure that Mr. Lin is especially thankful that you saved them. Isn't that right? Nezu turned to look behind him, Aizawa's eyes following him. What greeted him was the hair-length, hair-colored hair, skin-colored skin, and eye-colored eyes. It was the guy he saved yesterday. I'm sure you two will get along just fine, seeing as you were former classmates. Nice to see you again, Aizawa, Lin told him, but his monotone voice didn't confine Aizawa. That really meant it, making the Class 1A teacher feel a little awkward. Yo! President Mike screamed. Aizawa wondered how the hell that man was so energetic, especially this early in the day. Oh, hey, President Mike, Lin grated back. It's been forever, man. Yin laughed. Yin laughed. It really has been. Now, I know you haven't seen each other since high school, but let's get going now. Nezu told everyone. All the teachers were going to their respective classrooms, Lin following closely behind Aizawa in the hallways. I'm going to tell everyone about this change. I'll tell you when to come in and introduce yourself, Aizawa instructed. All right. Aizawa entered into the famous 1A classroom. Walking to his desk, it was the one of the rare mornings where Momo and Ida got to class to quiet down. Good morning. Before we start anything, I'd like to give a small announcement. This made the students wrestle a bit, since they were wondering what it could be about. We'll be having an assistant join our class. Ooh, I wonder who it could be, Uraka pondered out loud. I hope it's a hot girl, Mineta said out loud with no shame, making Aizawa and the rest of the class cringe. You better all treat him with respect, Aizawa told them seriously, empathizing that the him to Mineta back in his place. He looked at the door, making the students fill with anticipation. You can come in now. Lin slid open the door, going to the front of the room. All eyes were on him as they awaited for him to tell them who he is. Hello, I'm Mr. Lin. I'll be helping you all and your teacher with whatever needs you have. Wait. Hold on. Midoriya began. Oh boy, here we go, Aizawa thought tiredly. You're the underground hero Yin Lin. Is that how you and Mr. Aizawa know each other? Izuku fanboyed. The poor kid just couldn't help it. Lin chuckled in a nervous manner. He really didn't expect anyone to recognize him. You would be right about that first part, but no, I don't know Mr. Aizawa from that. He looked to the side. I didn't even know what I did to this guy, Aizawa thought as he watched him. Well, if that's all over with, I think that about covers it, Lin conceded. He gave the floor back to Aizawa, who was just thinking who the hell he had never heard of Lin, even more now. Right. He watched Lin walk to the other side of the room, taking his own seat next to his desk. He turned back to his class, feeling a little strange. As usual, you're all in for a day of hard training. Mr. Aizawa and Mr. Lin took the kids out into the field. Shotua watched them to practice their special moves more, and they tried them out in actual combat training. He was just observing from the sidelines to make sure everything was going well. Lin was one actually out helping there with them. Usually, Shoto wouldn't do something like this, but it was a test for both his assistant and the students. So, if you're Lin, does that mean your quirk is, I can be any color I want to be, and today, I'm favorite color? Mr. Lin joked, changing the color of his skin. His quirk? It kind of worked like a chameleon. He could change his colors at will and blend in with his surroundings. Whoa, that's so cool, Midoriya awed. Lin chuckled. Yeah, but like every quirk, it does have its downsides. I have to practice acting to accompany my quirk because, well, I wear my emotions on my sleeves. Also, my hero costume had to be specially made since my clothes couldn't change with me. Oh, I would get how that works, Midori replied, ready to go to a tag tent. Yeah, I think you should get back to your special move, though, right? Oh, right. Midoriya went back to kicking down Cementos towering walls. Oh, well, they must have perfected the acting part. They tried to seem as emotionless as a rock, Aizawa thought. The strangest feeling welled up in Aizawa as he watched this man do his work. It wasn't a bad one at all, but something incredible. The morning has passed and lunchtime started. Aizawa actually needed to talk to to his assistant, Lin. The whole rest of the morning classes, he was acting so strange. Aizawa noticed he was acting so deadpanned around him. He was itching to know why. They should be able to talk about their problems like an adult. While he was waiting, Aizawa sat patiently at his desk, eating his own lunch in peace and going over the rest of his lesson he had planned for the heroes in training. Deep down, he felt kind of bad if he caused someone unrest in their soul, especially someone he used to know. He really just wished to resolve this without conflict. He was staring at the wall, deep in thought, until the door opened. The person who had been waiting for to walk in. Aizawa straightened up in his seat, his attention to Lin. Lin was staring back at him with his eye-colored eyes. His eyes didn't show any hatred or even dislike. The eyes were always honest. Perhaps that's why Lin had colored glasses as a part of his hero costume. This was instructed Aizawa more. What did his old classmate think of him? You wanted to speak with me? Oh, yeah, right. Aizawa was going to continue the matter of what he wanted to discuss when a low rumble filled the room. Lin turned pink, quite literally, their whole body turning against them. Lin started to stutter. It seems he couldn't keep a calm front for long. I'm sorry, sir. Have you eaten today? Aizawa interrupted. Lin clenched their teeth, shifting their weight. I won't lie to you. No, honestly. Money has been a little tight lately, but there's no need to worry. Shh, I understand. Come sit with me. Lin let out a of shock and embarrassment. The guy he was assisting wasn't going to actually offer him some of his food, was he? You know what, Mr. Aizawa? I'm just gonna sit. I'll fire you. Aizawa got serious, and it was his own scary way to show that he cared. Right. Lin pulled up a chair to his desk, feeling the inscrutable dread kick in. He felt really awful at this moment, and it wasn't even just for the one reason. So, about the thing I wanted to talk to you about. Do you have a problem with me, Lin? Lin laughed awkwardly. What? Pff, no, seriously, I don't. I really can't tell you why I act weird around you, or I might be even more ashamed when I am right now. Lin laughed painfully. Aizawa looked at Lin, confused. Why was he so hard to understand? He didn't want him to be uncomfortable. This was all going downhill. I just want you to be honest so I can make up for whatever I did. Aizawa tried putting a comforting hand on Lin's shoulder, making the man's whole body turn pink once again. Aizawa raised his brow at this. Lin fitted with his index finger nervously. Truth be told, the reason I act around you the way I do is because I've had a crush on you since high school. Now I feel even worse because it's my first day on the job and I already needed help. So, in conclusion, I'm pathetic because I never confessed and I stuck at my job. Okay, goodbye. Lin made a dash for the door, not wanting to deal with his situation anymore. Supposedly, in this moment, Lin underestimated Aizawa's quirk reflexes, as he didn't get very far because he caught him with a scarf. Now, hold your horses. Aizawa stepped up to Lin, who was just standing there in disbelief. How did his life even lead up to a situation like this? Oh well, time to see how this would end. Terrible or great, it will all end up to fate. Aizawa chuckled. I thought I would have gotten to know you better before I was tying you up. Oh, I would have gotten to know you better before I was tying you up. Oh my god. Lynn squealed, laughing, but their whole body turning red. They were even more embarrassed than before. If that's the case, you should have just told me sooner. I would have been opposed to the idea of going out. Really? Lynn asked with excitement. He had never have the thought that he would actually get together with his high school sweetheart. Aizawa nodded, unwrapping Lynn from his scarf. For once, he wore a soft smile instead of that creepy one. Lynn's skin felt back to normal and smiled back. Oh my god. They heard a voice in the hallway, the voice soon laughing, their eyes widened in shock and fear, while also feeling that same fear shooting through their bodies. Lynn must have forgotten to close the door. They looked over and saw Kaminari was already bolting out of the doorway. Aizawa and Lynn gave each other a look. They stood there in silence for a minute before Lynn's snicker filled the room. Then the snickers turned to full laughter. Seeing Lynn like this made Aizawa feel better about getting caught by one of his students. Wait, wouldn't it be illegal if we dated? Lynn brought up. He was Aizawa's assistant. Kaminari, wait, no!